Join us now on Flickr at flickr.com/groups/art-of-photography. Everybody, welcome back once again to the Art of Photography. My name is Ted Forbes. We're going to kind of take a break from a lot of the framing and presentation stuff. In fact, a lot of photography in general today, because recently I've been working a lot on my laptop, and I know a lot of people who are working on netbooks, things like that, and I've been doing kind of some workflow stuff on my own, some things that I want to be able to do on that machine that is restrictive to do anyway. I wanted to share a couple of those things with you. So what we're going to do is move this into a screencast, and we'll go over to the computer now and have a look. All right, so more and more often these days, photographers, including myself, you'll find yourself working in situations where you may be on the go and you're using a netbook or a laptop or something like that, and you're not at your main machine at home. And you know, one of the things that becomes kind of a concern when you're doing that is, especially if you're on a netbook, is storage space on your hard drive. Maybe your machine's not as powerful as the one on your desktop. So lately, I've found myself doing this a lot, and there's a couple tools that I've found that I want to show you that can really help with doing stuff. One thing is hard drive space is at a premium for me, and I just don't want to carry gallery upon gallery of you know, images with me all the time when I'm not knowing what I'm going to need. So there's an app that we'll go ahead and pull this up called Flickery that I found that I really like. Let's go ahead and open Flickery. And the main thing I use Flickery for, first of all, Flickery is, it costs about $17. I'll show you the link in a second to it, about 14 euros, I think. And Flickery is really nice because it basically is a web browser that just browses Flickr. And so you can do a lot of organizing, a lot of renaming, a lot of those kinds of things in here. I can upload photos through Flickery. You can do all that stuff through the Flickr website too. But the one thing that Flickr's website does not do that really is a pain sometimes is being able to have the option of bulk downloading images. So if I have one image I want to download, it's not a problem. But if I have 5, usually it's about 4 or 5 clicks to get to that large size image to download. And so, you know, Flickr's an obvious choice if you don't want to store things on the computer. But getting to them sometimes can be difficult. And that's what I like using Flickery for. And so, for instance, if I want to download these images of these flowers, I can click and hold down the Shift key, and I'll go ahead and select all the images that I want. And then what I'm going to do is go up here to the download menu, and you have a couple options here. I'm just going to select download to, and we'll put these on the desktop, and I'll actually create a new folder, and we'll call these downloaded images. Okay, we'll go ahead and create that. Let's say save, and you're going to see this little box pops up, and voila, it just starts downloading them all, which, you know, huge time saver, especially if you use Flickr a lot and you want to grab some images off here to work with. So anyway, again, Flickr is a great app for that. Unfortunately, it is Mac only. If you're on the Windows side, you can use, there's an app called Bulkr, B-U-L-K-R, and that's actually Mac and Windows. I just prefer Flickery. I bought it in a bundle a couple years ago with some other software, and I find it really nice. So anyway, that's my recommendation there. Okay, so let's go ahead and quit this, and you're going to see, here's our download images folder. I'll open that, and here it is. It downloaded the original size, actually, of each one of these images. So if I open this one a little more, you can see down here in the preview that the dimensions on this image are 2904 by 3700. So that's the full size image that I uploaded as a JPEG to Flickr. So very cool. But you know, sometimes let's say that I just want to grab a group of images. I don't really want to build a gallery in Flickr to do it, but I just want to send a group of images and put them up on the web in a gallery format so people can see them. Okay. So, you know, first thing I might want to do is I might want to resize these. Well, there's a lot of things that, like, you know, Photoshop is great for, but sometimes if you want to have Photoshop on your computer just to do a couple little things, I like little utilities personally that'll help with this. And there's an app that I really like called iResize, and there's probably a Windows equivalent. I have not looked for one. iResize is free, and it's on the Mac. I'll give you the link to that in a second too. And basically you get a little contextual window that opens here, and what we need to do is down here on the bottom left is say add or remove images. I'll click that. We're going to add not just one image, we're going to add a whole folder of images. And I'm going to put that downloaded images folder. Let's choose that. And it's going to bring in all the files. Okay, and I can see them over here on this left-hand pane over here. Now you can go through each one of these and define dimensions and rotate if you need to, or, you know, do all kinds of things like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click the last one and select all of them. And over here on the right-hand side, here's the size in pixels. I don't want height or width. Let's change the height. Let's bring it around. This computer's pretty small, to 403. We're just going to put these online for somebody to see, so they don't need the full-size image. I can change the name if I want on these. I can add extensions, so on and so forth. But when I'm ready to go, all I have to do is on this middle pane is click Resize All, and it's going to pull up a menu here. It says, where do you want to put them? Well, let's create another folder, and let's say Smaller Images. We'll call that folder. Let's say Create. Let's resize all here. It's going to go through each image and resize it to the maximum height that I gave it. And there we're done. Say OK, and we can go ahead and quit this. Now, here's my smaller images folder, and you can see when I preview these that they're much smaller. They are all, let's open it up, 316 by 403, which I think is what I gave it for that large number there. So it uniformly made all these the same size. Now, let's say you want to put those online somewhere for somebody to look at really easily. Well, here's a web app that is free that I found that I really like. Go over to Safari here. This is called Minus. min.us is the URL, and I don't think it could get much simpler. You don't even have to have an account to do this. You can just load images up. I do have an account, and I've got some galleries in here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go back over here. Let's select all these images, and literally all you do is drag and drop them onto the browser. Let's go back to the browser, and you can see there it is, working the magic. It's uploading and bringing them in. So anyway, once it's loading, I found sometimes it does snag on the loading. It actually has loaded them all, but you don't see it. So anyway, I can click on these and move around. You can click and drag to rearrange them, which is kind of nice. If I want this image to be the first image, I'm going to click and drag it up to the top. Very slick. And then here's your edit URL and your share URL. So all I have to do is send that to somebody, and then they will get this little web gallery right here. Now, one thing I do want to note is you probably don't want to put copyrighted images or things that are sensitive, mainly because it does give you the links to download the image on here. So it's not the most super secure thing in the world, but it is great if you just need to send some images to somebody, or especially if you're dealing with like family images and things like that. So anyway, that's a great option. One other option that I really like is an app called Dropbox. And if you don't have Dropbox, it is really one of the most awesome things you could possibly put on your computer. Now Dropbox works like this. You're going to go to dropbox.com, which is right here, and I'm actually in my admin window. You sign up for the account. They do have a free version. If you need more space, there are paid versions. But what I like about Dropbox is it's an excellent way to get images shared across computers, just back them up online, etc. And the free account, I believe, comes with 2 gigabytes of space, which is really nice. And what it does is you're going to install it as an app on your computer. And when you do, you can see down here in my little menu here that it put it over on the side. Dropbox is actually in your Documents folder. And anytime I throw in a file in here, it can be anything, it will upload it to the web, and it will sync it with any other computer that has Dropbox installed on it as well. And you can share folders with other people, but for the most part, your stuff's pretty secure. It's private. And Dropbox is awesome. One thing I really like about this is there is a photos folder, and it's right here. And earlier, I put, when I was practicing for this and making sure I had all my stuff together, I actually threw those flower images in here already. And what's cool is when you throw them in here, it automatically uploads them, throws them online. And now when I go back over to the Dropbox interface here, if I go down to Photos, okay, here's that sample images folder. Let's click on that. And here's all the images if I just need to download them or send a link to somebody or whatever. But the other cool thing about this is I click on Gallery, and Dropbox automatically builds a gallery. So I don't have to do any resizing. I don't have to do any HTML coding. I can just throw them in here, and voila, done. And what's really cool is I can copy this link, and I can send it to friends. I can send it to whoever, client, and I didn't have to build any of this. So this is really one of the most hassle-free ways of building images and get them online. So anyway, a couple cool things I just want to show you, just utilities today. We'll get back into more of the photography tutorials next time. But just to review real quick, that's Dropbox.com. I also showed you min.us, or Minus was the other web gallery app. That one's free. The image resizer can be found at Danielle.ch. That's Daniele.ch. And this individual, this programmer, has a bunch of utilities. iResize is the first one. Very nice. And then finally, Flickery can be found at flickeryapp.com, made by a group called Eternal Storms. And Flickery is a great app. I really, really like it and highly recommend it. So anyway, just a few utilities, just a few little things I figured you might find useful today. And once again, if you enjoy the show, make sure you leave a comment on iTunes. Send me an email if you got questions. And once again, we hope to see you next time. This has been The Art of Photography, and thanks for watching.